Pence will head the Trump transition team now. That's pretty much what you would expect, that folks. That's usually what happens once the actual nominees get elected. Then it's traditional, in my memory at least, to have the VP take over, and Chris Christie will be the assistant to the transition team, he'll be the VP of the transition team, and someone who can definitely clarify and discuss those things with me a little better is Senator Roy Blunt, great friend of the show. Hey, Senator, first time I've spoken to you in person. We've texted a little bit, but congratulations.
Well, Tim, you're a great help, a great friend, and I'm pleased to be part of what's about to happen. I don't think, frankly, hardly anybody had thought far enough beyond Tuesday to really anticipate the change in the government, not just with the Supreme Court, but with the lower court vacancies, remembering that the 51 vote rule hasn't really produced the results you would have thought, because there weren't that many vacancies when Harry Reid forced that rule change on nominees, but now there are vacancies, and there's a Republican Senate to fill them, and not just the court, but the new president being able to put his administration together more quickly once they've decided who should be confirmed. I think he'll have a Senate that wants to work with him on that and do that quickly. Mike Pence, who was one of my deputies when I was in the whip of the House, called me this morning to talk about his new role in the transition team, and he is a great guy. You heard me say, and others did all over the state, when asked about, well, what do you think about a Trump administration? I said, look, the two pieces of evidence that we have so far are Mike Pence, his first choice as our nominee, and that list of judges that he put out there as a list of potential Supreme Court judges if he was president. I said, if that's an indication of what's about to happen, I'm pretty comfortable with what's about to happen.
And Senator, one of the people on that list, I hope it becomes a reality as an option, is Missourians Ray Gruender, right?
Wouldn't that be great? What a good guy,
yes.
A judge who would look at the Constitution and try to determine what the framers of the Constitution intended for it to say, rather than what we could have faced, which were Clinton nominees who for sure would have been looking at the Constitution and trying to decide what they think it should have said.
Speaking to Senator Roy Blunt, fresh off a victory this Tuesday, as well as the entire Missouri slate, and I'm going to ask you about that in a Senate, Senator, but I wanted to ask you first about the day. Today is Veterans Day, and I've followed we've worked together for many years, and I know how much you care about veterans. And aren't you excited now that you will have a partner in the White House to help veterans?
Well, I am, and I think we're going to have somebody in the White House who wants to see veterans have more choices in their health care, who's going to insist that no waiting list, particularly if you're struggling with a mental health problem, zero waiting list is acceptable if you're thinking about harming yourself or someone else. We have a great tradition in our state, 500,000 veterans that I get to represent in the Senate. One of the things I've been particularly pleased about in my career is being able to work with them, and then having the Veterans of Foreign Wars, the Missouri VFW, give me the only Lifetime Achievement Award they've ever given to an elected official. And
yes.
I look forward to their continued advice, as I do from the American Legion and the young veterans groups who are more concerned on mental health parity, treating mental health like all other health. And this is really an important day to think, as we should every day, what veterans and their families have been willing to do and how much that means to the freedoms we have.
Speaking to Missouri Senator Roy Blunt. And Roy, we have to mention that, not only were you victorious, but you probably haven't seen this in a long time, right? That every Missouri every Missouri Republican was elected on Tuesday. And I know you're always really good about staying out of the way of the state legislators, but just speak broadly, though. I mean, that bodes well for the future of Missouri as well as the country, that we have a chance for some new, fresh leadership?
Well, it does. And Tim, you and I have talked about this many times about the opportunities that are out there for us. World food demand is going to double in one working lifetime. We couldn't be better positioned for that, particularly where we are with transportation. I think we have a real chance now to fight the Obama administration's effort to double our utility bills, and I intend to do everything I can to see that doesn't happen, because that means more jobs. And if you have a group of state officials, particularly the governor, who has the same vision of the future that the General Assembly does, then you know where you're going. If everybody who wants to do business in Missouri hears is a conflict between the state officials and the legislature, they're much less likely to decide that Missouri is where they ought to be than if they're hearing that common voice. And so today in Missouri, we have 8 statewide elected offices, including the 2 Senate seats. 6 of those at this moment are held by Democrats. In January, 6 of those 8 offices will be held by Republicans. That's not only an incredible change, but never in the history of the state have Republicans elected all 6 statewide offices on the ballot, the Senate and the 5 Jefferson City offices, and had a huge margin in the General Assembly at the same time. So
wow. Yes.
It's truly a historic opportunity for our state to move forward in a way that thinks about better jobs and stronger families, and it's unbelievably exciting.
Well,
I was just thinking this morning, I want to be sure and begin to schedule right now to be in Jefferson City on January 1 when those 5 new statewide officials are sworn in.
It's fantastic. You know, as a former history teacher, I know you always bring me a great historical fact or two, and it really is momentous. Speaking of Senator Roy Blunt, just reelected on Tuesday, he'll be going back to Washington, D.C. for a bright new year, 2017. Roy, I'm going to ask you to look into your crystal ball just a little bit, maybe broadly give us what do you think might the Trump-Pence team seek to tackle in those first few days, that critical first 100 days? If you could give them a Cliff's Notes, what things would you advise them to look at right off the bat to help implement his policies of more jobs and immigration and the ISIS threat and all that sort of thing? What can you do that quickly?
Well, I would like to see, Obamacare is clearly a disaster. We're going to have to deal with that as soon as we can. That has to be a top issue. And at the same time, you can't totally blow up the system again without having any idea where you're headed. And remember all the times during the campaign, President-elect Trump said we need a broader marketplace. We need to not be bound by state boundaries. People need to buy insurance across state lines. We're in a disastrous healthcare environment for all kinds of families, particularly in our state, where Forbes magazine's anticipating that in most of our counties, the insurance that only one company will be offering that you have to buy will be 50% higher than it is today, starting January 1. So healthcare, I think we have to get the regulators under control. I've asked Mr. Trump when he was a candidate if he'd sign my bill called the REINS Act that would require members of Congress to take responsibility and vote on every regulation. I think sooner rather than later is the time to do that. He's clearly going to look at the executive orders, and there are many of them that should be repealed, and that's easily done by a new executive order. The tax structure, I think there is a broad agreement that we need to look at reforming the tax structure in a revenue-neutral way that somehow encourages the infrastructure of the country to be better. And remember, Tim, we benefit from infrastructure more than virtually anybody because we live where the interstate highways, the river system, and the railroads obviously come together. It's one of our huge advantages, and I'm sure our whole congressional delegation is going to be interested in advancing that goal.
Oh, absolutely. And we're so behind the eight ball on that because of not only President Obama, but with Jay Nixon departing, Governor Jay Nixon leaving, there's been no leadership on it, from the governor's mansion, and I'm really excited about a new Governor Greitens administration giving us some new ideas on that, working hand in hand with House and Senate. So you're going to have that same opportunity up in D.C. as well. Speaking of Senator Roy Blunt here, and Senator, on the Supreme Court nominees, we have one vacancy right now. There could be more. You and I talked during the campaign how critical that was, and boy, isn't it great that it's going to go in the right direction now. What happens with that Scalia appointment? Is that something that y'all are just going to you'll have to wait, right, until January, but is that something you think Trump-Pence will move forward on right away in January?
I would think so. I would think so and hope so. I also think that they ought to be doing all they can to be prepared to move forward on all the district court, the other court vacancies that are out there. We can, at this moment, fill them with a presidential nomination, a Republican Judiciary Committee deciding whether to advance that nomination or not, and then a Republican Senate where 51 senators will vote. Those people are on the court for life. That's important. And whatever time the Supreme Court vacancy takes to fill, because it's still a 60-vote threshold, whatever time that takes to fill, we don't need to get bogged down in a way that doesn't allow us to put people on these other courts that will be making the right decisions that then have to be appealed to the Supreme Court. But I like that list that the new president has put out months ago. You do too.
Yes.
Like you said, it'd be great if our friend Ray Grunder could be one of the final contenders for that slot or the others that I think are likely to occur. I think you have to assume there'll be two vacancies in this next 4 years. One's already there. I'd bet 3, and I wouldn't be surprised by 4. And either 3 or 4 remakes the court for at least 20 years, in my opinion. And it's thank goodness that a Republican president, Donald Trump, and a Republican Senate are going to be the deciders there. That protects the Constitution and protects our freedoms in ways that wouldn't have been available to us otherwise.
Boy, it's so much opportunity to move the country forward in a positive way. Senator, you worked so hard, your family, your team. I got to meet a lot of them. Hard-working folks all across the state. You visited 114 counties. I don't know how many times. I hope you and the family and the team, I hope you all get a little rest before you're going to have a heavy load in January, I'm sure.
Well, we do, and I'm chairing the Joint Committee on the inauguration, which gets that process going, and I hope to be there on the platform Election Day. I'm a lot more excited about introducing President-elect Trump than I was the alternative if I was still chairing that. And so we're working on that, and of course the security concerns. But
yes,
I can tell you the request already coming into the office, and I'm sure that's the case in every Republican Senate office and probably every office in the Senate and the House for can we get a couple of tickets to be there witnessing that when it happens. It will be it'll be different, I'm sure, and different in a good way.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe Jamie and I will get to come up and see you all. We get a.
Wouldn't that be great?
Sit up in a tree or something.
Great in understanding what was at stake in this election, and so has Mark.
Yes, he has.
Thank goodness for the fact that we had people out there trying to explain what the truth was and how many untruthful things were being said in this election cycle, because the other side, led by Harry Reid, was clearly prepared to do and say anything to get control of the White House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court, and that didn't happen.
Well, thank you so much, Senator. And you have a great Veterans Day, a great weekend, and I know we will speak with you again soon.
All right, buddy. See you soon.
Absolutely. That was Missouri Senator Roy Blunt at Roy Blunt Mo, at Roy Blunt Mo on Twitter, royblunt.com. And he's a great public servant for all Missourians. And he's right. Good week for the American.